This is Coop's dad, and this is personal to me. Okay, we are here with Emma Brooks McAllister.
Hi, yes.
Hello. I've only known you as Emma.
Yeah.
I had to look up that you had a last name. I thought your last name was Brooks.
A lot of people do think my last name is
And
Brooks.
then you're, who's McAllister?
McAllister, yeah. I mean, that's, yeah, my last
Got
name.
it. Thank you for coming.
No, thanks for having me.
When did we meet?
Well, I met Treva first, and I didn't meet you until Coop's passing.
Was that
I
the
think.
paddle out?
Yeah.
When you came
Was
to
it the
our
paddle
house?
out? Or was it, because I think I came before the paddle out.
You did?
I think so.
I don't
Sorry,
remember.
that time is kind of a blur.
No, I know.
but-
It's kind of a blur for all of us. But
Yeah.
I just remember you. I remember you at our house because that's when I met Zach.
Yeah.
And you guys are really cute together. I mean, you guys are like, you couldn't separate you two guys. I mean, like physically.
Yeah.
Like you guys are on each other. And then remember you guys were sitting out in the garden at a table?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, all that.
Yeah, I met Treva first whenever we were all living in the house together, like 2 years ago. So I met Treva, and then I met you last June.
Yeah, it was somewhere around then.
Yeah, but it's been a while now.
So I didn't know much about you. All I know that I had seen you in some TikToks that Coop had done, you guys had done. I've heard about you from Alana because Cooper got connected with Alana through SAB because Alana's your manager.
Yes.
And she was managing SAB, and then she started at the very end managing Coop and doing some brand stuff with him, et cetera, and getting him some modeling gigs. But I didn't know much about you. But he would always talk about you and Anna. And then I remember seeing, I remember you were going out to the desert for Coachella.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Coop and Sab had broken up, right?
They were together.
At that time, were they together at that time?
Yes, they were together.
Okay. But I remember some videos. And then you guys posted some goofy photo videos out there. Remember he had
His
the
scarf.
headscarf.
His headscarf.
I'm like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah,
This
no,
is
that
my
Coachella
son.
was like, it's funny. There was a night where like Coachella was such a mess and Coop was like wanting to go to the bathroom really bad. And I was like, Cooper, you can't walk away from the group. Don't leave. And then he walks away. Of course he did.
He always kind of like walked in his own lane.
Yeah.
His own highway.
If he wanted to do it, he was going to do it. But no. So yeah, Coachella was fun times. But
that's how I saw stuff with you guys.
Yeah.
I saw stuff with you and Anna.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know who you guys were. But as I got to know Alana, she shared a lot who you were. Sab did. And I just, you always stood out to me because you were kind of a lot like Cooper, that you're goofy.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that in a nice way.
No, I know.
You know, you always like looking, having fun and like doing fun stuff. And then there was a whole gap. I know you might have seen Treva a few times, but I saw you again at the photo shoot.
Yeah.
The Coops and Bites photo shoot.
Yeah.
Then you started doing videos on your phone then. Remember? You were setting your phone down by the window and stuff. And I was watching what you're doing with everybody else. And that was a really cool day.
that was a really great day.
And so I was watching you that day because I was like, oh my gosh, she's so much like Cooper, you know?
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't know much about your background, but I wanted to ask, like, I know that you are like a super famous on TikTok.
No.
And I mean, you are. I mean, you've got like over 4 million followers and you've been on it for quite some time. You also model. But I don't know how you got started with all this. So I thought maybe you might be able to share a little bit about your background. Like, how did you get, like, where'd you come from? What did you do? And how'd you get here?
Yeah. A brief little summary, I guess. I am from Louisiana. I'm from a little town. And I had always I grew up always wanting to be a part of the industry and the entertainment industry, fashion, movies, film, all of it. I grew up with America's Next Top Model. Like Tyra Banks was like my idol.
Really?
Growing up. And she was the inspo for me wanting to be a part of this world. Like watching that competition, I was like, oh, I'm going to grow up and be a part of America's Next Top Model.
Well, so like, what age was this?
So it started in 2003 and my mom watched it. So I had been watching it since I was a kid. And then I started really tapping into it whenever I was around 6 or 7. And my mom had always supported, my mom named me Emma Brooks specifically as like a stage name because Natalie Portman is her middle name. That's not her last name. So my mom had always like wanted that. And like, luckily I had kind of like always wanted to be in that industry as well because my mom had wanted to be a part of that world. And I grew up watching America's Next Top Model and adoring Tyra. And then around 14 is whenever I was really starting to take it seriously because I was in high school and I had been in competitive dance prior to that. And I was starting to like realize that I needed to make some real changes to like go towards my goals in the future. And I knew that being in like moving to New York was like what I wanted to do. I was constantly doing research on like different modeling camps, and that's whenever I started doing local fashion weeks and like.
So you knew this from a really young age.
Yeah, but it was never like social media wasn't even like a thing. Like obviously like there was things happening, but it was always the industry. It was always like wanting to entertain and be in front of people and make people happy and like evoke emotions and like all of that was like what I wanted to do. And I had done competitive dance before that, so that kind of like jammed into my head more that like I wanted to be in front of people.
When you say competitive dance, like what's competitive dance? Like not like ballet.
No, like the ballet was for like training, but like just going to dance competitions. I mean, I had started whenever I was like
free form things of that sort.
Yeah. I had done it for like 6 years, from like a young age up to like 15, like 14, 15, and that's whenever. I had to make the decision on whether I wanted to do pageants or dancing.
Were you doing pageants? Like as a little kid where they get you all made up? And
I wanted to do it, but it wasn't like the right time. And also like pageants just are really expensive. So we weren't able to do that then, but I had done so many things. Like there's these like pure, like these like, John Robert Powers, which is like a complete scam. But I would go to these classes. Me and my sister would go to these modeling and acting classes in New Orleans. And then they would be like, oh, if you win, then you can go to LA and like perform in front of a bunch of people from more judges. It ended up being a scam.
And basically they're just collecting checks.
Yeah. But like that was like, my mom had always been really supportive of me like pursuing this, like this life, I guess you could say, or like this dream of mine. And then when I was 14, I started doing pageants because when you're from South Louisiana, like it's hard to find a way out. Like to be scouted is really difficult. So I started pageants and I started doing local fashion weeks and just driving around shooting with people. I ended up my second year, I won Miss Louisiana Teen USA. And
really,
that is what.
Wow.
Well, it's necessary to the story because
that's cool.
It ended up being a part of the pageant system. Really helped me get to LA because there is a camp out here in Los Angeles called LEAP. It's held at UCLA every year, and all the pageant girls were like sponsored to go to this camp. And like, there was like 2,000 to 3,000 kids at this camp, like from all over the world, from all age ranges.
So is the goal to get to this camp, to get noticed and go to the next level from there? Or like to be asked to do stuff?
It's like a mentorship leadership camp. So it's like all about like networking and building, like being successful, entrepreneurship, like how to live a long, healthy life. Like Dr. Bill Dorfman, who owns this camp, is very successful. He's super like healthy, like he's really smart and like everything, and he put everything into this camp. So I went, and that's how I ended up finding my internship in LA. And that's how I moved to LA, was I found the internship there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I went whenever it was the end of my junior year, and I went and I met Alka, who owns Everly PR, where Parker was at.
Right.
And I met her. I asked her for an internship. And then over the course of my senior year, I just kept in touch with them. And then after I graduated. You're still in
Louisiana at the time.
I was. Okay. Yeah. So I did my senior year of high school. I kept in touch with them. And then after I graduated high school, I moved to Los Angeles.
So
As an intern.
my knowledge is really limited about this because it just is. I would think so. L.A., New York, you either go to one of the two to get like maybe discovered, launched, signed.
Yeah,
what have you?
I was wanting to move to New York City because I was really wanting to go for modeling first, and then I was like, then we'll go into the acting because I kind of like Cara Delevingne after Tyra became my idol because whenever I was around 13 years old, Cara started blowing up on the scene. She was this supermodel that just came out of nowhere. Karl Lagerfeld and Olivier like Rousting from Beaumont, like they're all just going towards this beautiful girl who became a supermodel, and then she went into acting, and now she's still acting. She crushed it. So I really looked up to her, and she was like my idol at the time just because she was so weird. Like I remember watching her dub smashes like before like TikTok was and Musical.ly was a thing. Like her dub smashes and her Instagram, like she was so like herself and she was so open. So she was my icon. So I was kind of like, I'm going to go into modeling and then I'm going to go into acting.
Just like her.
Yeah. But I ended up moving to LA first because that's where the internship was. And like, I couldn't go to school. Like I wasn't able to go to school outside of the state. It was either I go to LSU or I find an internship outside of Louisiana and do that. And so I was really lucky. There
was nothing in Louisiana for you for this, right? Mm-hmm. You had to go somewhere else.
I had to. I mean, there are girls who get scouted at like New Orleans Fashion Week, but that was just like not happening for me. I was doing any and every fashion week I could that was like on the coast. And it's just not like, it's not a crazy fashion scene. It's not like any of these.
It doesn't have the exposure.
Yeah. So it was really just important to me to have this opportunity to move to LA. So I had 1 year in LA to make it financially. Cause obviously I'm not making money as an intern. Like I had enough money in my savings to pay for 1 year's worth of rent.
Did you have any type of manager at that time?
No, I wasn't.
I was just doing this on your own.
It was just, I moved out and I was just praying to God I would have a job by the end of the year.
And you were how old?
I was 18.
And your parents were okay with this?
Yeah. I mean, my grandparents really, really helped to talk my mom into it because my mom had, when she was my age, I mean, she was going to Europe and like traveling around, like all over the place. Like she worked for Parliament in London and then like went to school in France and like passed out. She would like work there and then she would like pass out Haagen-Dazs flyers in Amsterdam. Like she did a lot when she was younger. So that really stuck with me. And like my grandparents were like, Heather, like remember that we let you do this and supported you through this whenever you were young. Like you need to do this for Emma because this is what she wants. I did have a deferment at LSU though. So
you can always go back.
Yeah. So I had my deferment, and if like LA didn't work out, if I couldn't financially support myself by the end of the year, then
couldn't make it.
I would have to come back home and go to school. So, but thank God.
It's interesting your grandparents supported that because looking back at like those generations, typically it's like, no, don't do that. Get a job, go to school, get a degree, get a job.
They're like my biggest fans.
Wow.
Yeah, I love my grandparents so much.
Well, like approximately what age are they?
They're like in their like mid-60s.
Oh, so like my age.
Yeah.
So they kind of grew up in that.
Yeah.
So now I can relate to it because I did that out of college.
Yeah.
I took off and just traveled. So I did all that because I realized that I thought that I would never have the time to do it again.
Yeah.
Because I have to go to work, make money.
Exactly.
All that. And today I think their advice was sound. Like, you're going to probably have a career.
And it's also like so nice that we're in a place in our world where like you can take a gap year and like you can take time to like really think about like what you want to do. There's so many different lines of work that aren't exposed to us. Like, especially where I'm from, it's like, if you want to be successful, like you have to be a doctor or a lawyer and then there's like the middle ground where it's like teachers and like officers and like librarians. There's no source of opportunity. There's like no support on like what you can do, but it's like, I'm going to there's a Renaissance festival that happens. I'm like, you could literally travel with the Renaissance, or like there's they have like a recreation of like one of the Mayflower ships.
I've heard about that.
And they come in and I'm like, there's people that stay on the ship and travel. Like there's so many different odd jobs that people do. And like, they're just like, there's not enough exposure for that. And even going to LEAP, there's one day where they have like up to 100 different mentors and people in different lines of work that come in, and that it's like a speed dating thing. Like you go in, you sit down for 5 minutes, you talk to them, you either like just talk to them, you get a mentor out of it, you get an internship out of it, or you just get information out of it and then you move on. And it's like, there's just so many different things to do. But
so how many people go to this camp?
Whenever I was there was around like 2,000 to 3,000 kids.
And so out of that,
but then COVID happened, so it's I don't really know. My sister went last year and she really loved it. Like she got a lot out of it, and you get like, I mean, you take things away from that just never leave you. There are people that still go back.
Well, you're learning about they're impacting on you things that you can implement in your life to help you to the next steps of your career.
Yeah.
Right. But also you're there, like there's an opportunity that if someone sees someone else as a potential, they might get picked up.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of like the goal. Like maybe 1 or 2 out of 2,000 or 3,000 might get a shot.
It's crazy. I mean,
right?
I just know that like, if there was like one thing different that happened in the past, like ever since I was 14, it's crazy. I mean, there were so many moments that could have stopped me from going into the pageants, which would have stopped me from going to the camp, which would have stopped me getting that internship, which would have stopped me from moving to LA. Right. And like now I don't know if I would be here, because it took me around 8 to 9 months of living in Los Angeles to meet Alana, who's my now manager.
Right.
She's
the best.
She's literally the best person I know. She's amazing.
She's with Homemade?
Yes, Homemade Projects.
We're plugging Alana.
No, Alana is the best human to ever exist. She's
I know, she's so cool.
No, I'm really, really grateful to know her. And something that was also just the day that I got let go on my internship was the day that me and her signed together. So like, and she didn't know that at the time, but I like called my mom that day and I was like, oh, like
what do I do?
Like my internship's not here. And she's like, Emma, like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I just signed to my manager today. So let's see. And when she found me, I like really was not on social media. Like I had 200K on TikTok and around like maybe 70K on Instagram.
Wow. That's still a lot, but I understand.
Yeah, no, but like
in your world, it's not a lot.
Yeah. So I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen. Social media had never been like a thought in my mind. Like I didn't move to LA and was like, oh, because I moved to LA during the time where there was a bunch of influencers that came in and there was like such an influx in the social media space of all these young people moving out. And I had been witnessing it. I had witnessed it. Didn't really like, I had no urge to be a part of it. I was just happy to be in such a new place with people that I loved and that supported me. And I was like, I don't really care about the social media world. Like, I'm just happy to be here. I had to put, like, I knew I was going to figure it out. But then Alana came in and I had just, I don't know, social media just like naturally started happening and I just naturally started growing. And then
did she help with the growth of that?
I mean, yeah, like, yes. It's like weird because it's like what goes into that growth. It's just like we were doing, like I was just making my regular content. I was just making videos and she definitely has helped me give me an eye of like just curating and cleaning and like making my content more myself, if that makes any sense.
Where it resonates who you are.
Yeah. And then
I think that's what's really good about your content. Because whenever I see it and it pops through on my feed, it's like, oh, there's Emma. It gives you that kind of like, this is going to be fun. And then you have this other account, Vlad.
Yeah.
Vlad. And
I know you sent me my video that I posted on there and I was like, oh my God,
what
he knows about that account.
So like, what is Vlad?
So Vlad is the second account where I can.
Like Vladimir Putin?
No. So the name came from a live that I did where I have this like forehead vein that like pops out, and we named the forehead vein.
Wait. Oh, you have a forehead vein?
Yeah, like it just pops out whenever I'm like laughing or I'm excited. You can't really see it right now. It like goes right here.
Yeah. No, I can see it. It's like throbbing. It's like scanners, you know.
No, but yeah. So we named it Vlad, and then
who named it Vlad? Where do you get Vlad?
Me and the followers. Like I don't know. We just said like someone said Vlad, and I was like Vlad. Like okay, let's do Vlad. Oh my gosh. And then 23 is my favorite number. 13 is like my family's number, and
so you put those together.
Yeah. So
it's like a what kind of account do you call it? Because I know
it's just like a second account. That's like my sister thinks I'm cringy on there sometimes. She like has pointed it. Yeah, sometimes I get it. And then I could just like, I don't know, it's just like a second account that's like a free for all. Cause I just think that sometimes I feel like I struggle with like trying to show people my personality online just cause it's like, one, I talk so much that I'm like, how do I fit a little bit of my personality? Like, how do I just put it out there? There's so many people that are great at showing who they are and online, and I'm working on it little by little.
Let me help understand. How do you feel that you're not showing your personality online?
I don't know. I just want people.
I think that's what comes across is your personality.
And I appreciate
think that's what resonates with people.
Thank you. Because that's what I really want. That's why I like Vlad, because I like talk aimlessly more on there. And like it feels more like a YouTube account where like I just talk aimlessly and like
you're not scripted.
Really no.
You might have an idea, but it doesn't come across scripted.
No.
It comes across like, oh, Emma's on a tangent again. She's had too much coffee, you know?
It's funny because that's what my comments say.
Right?
Yeah. People are like, oh, she's posting again. So what is she doing? Because I'll go from like not posting anything to like back to back to back videos. But yeah, that's kind of like a little summary of like the surface level of my life.
But this helps you, your social media content, that platform must help you for your exposure to do what you're doing today, which is you're doing a lot more modeling.
I'm so grateful for what it's done for me. It's definitely like, I'm so grateful to the people that have decided to follow me and support me and look at what I'm doing. And something that I really want to get across is one, like mental health is so important to me. And like, obviously it's kind of the reason why I'm here today, and we'll get more into that. But like the mental health aspect and just like knowing that people are supporting something that I've always wanted to do and like could not have dreamed of it happening like this. It means so much to me, and it's so genuine. I just like really am just so grateful. So, learning how to like kind of translate that into something that will give back to people and like make people feel seen and heard is just really important to me. And I'm figuring that out as I'm going. Obviously, like I'm so young that it's like the possibilities are so endless, and it's like overwhelming as to like what can happen. So doing things like this, obviously Coop's advice is one of the most important things to me, to you, to Sab, to like literally our whole group, Anna, literally so many people. It's crazy what Coop's advice has done. And I think we talk about it all the time is like,
I'm curious because I'm not, obviously I'm not in your circle, but we are connected with you guys. And I still tell people it's kind of weird. I mean, I say it's weird. Here's Coop's mom and I, we're like in our 60s, right?
Yeah.
And we live in Laguna Beach. Yeah. So we're a good hour from where you guys live, 45 minutes to an hour. And yet every 2-3 weeks, there's a bunch of different people from the group that want to come out, hang out with us. And they want to like have dinner, or they want to play games, or they want to sit around and just bullshit. And it's like, why did these kids want to hang out with like these old people, And then we got 2 psycho dogs, right? And so, but there's something that resonates. I don't know what it is. We're thankful, but I'm curious to like how you guys are viewing what's been going on with, when I say the Coop's advice, I mean the umbrella of there's Discord, there's Foundation, there's stuff that we're doing like this today. We're supporting other mental health and addiction platforms. I'm curious what you guys think, because we only see it through our eyes.
Yeah. I mean, for us, like everything has, for me specifically, I don't want to speak for everyone. Coop's advice is like become somewhat of just a comfort family feeling of being closer to Coop and like living out something that he has always dreamt about. And, you know, addiction is an illness and it is a sickness and it is an overwhelming burden. And he wanted this so bad. And to be able to just help live this out for him and like have him, because we both know he's here. Like we both know that he's being a part of everything. And I think
we're just talking about that.
Like there's, I mean, obviously there's just been so many incidents that, and like not even like it's too much of him to be a coincidence.
Well, we were talking about that dinner briefly, remember?
Exactly.
Even though it was hard to hear, it's
Yeah.
like what I experienced.
Yeah.
It happens to everybody.
And I mean, even
everybody that was close with him.
Exactly. So it's just comforting, I think. And I think I'm hoping I hope that it makes him happy. I hope that he's loving what we're all doing for him. And I hope he knows that it's for him and for everyone else that deals with what he's dealt with. And
is it hard for you to talk about Coop?
Yeah.
I kind of sensed that the other night, that it pokes some sensitive parts of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like there's things in your life, it seems like it touches or, you know, it hits some, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't know you that well, but I'm just saying, so I don't know your past.
No,
but
of course.
And there's things that people bring up on other subjects that do the same with me.
I mean, I can only imagine. Like, I can't imagine what you and Treva have gone through and felt and like still feel. I think it hurts just because I knew Coop for a little over 2 years, and when we met, the first time we met was very briefly, and then the second time we met was at an Airbnb, like a little party, like November of 2020
in LA.
And
that's when you really first met him.
That's when I really that's when we like sat outside and we had an actual conversation. And like,
I'm curious, Sam, what did you think?
I was like, this kid's a little wild child.
Be open as you can. It's okay.
No, he was being really funny. He was like being really funny in the group, and like he was being very out of pocket, as he always is, and like just really funny. And then we sat outside and we just started talking, like, where are you from? And because it started because he was drinking sweet tea. And I was like, you love sweet tea. He was eating McDonald's and
it's a Texas
Buffalo
thing.
Ranch. I'm like, oh my God, love that. Like, that's like something we started talking off. And then he was asking me where I'm from. I was talking to him. And then
he with Sab then?
Yes.
Okay.
Sab was there. Blonde Sab.
Oh, blonde. So that's in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah. So they had just started dating, and we like got deep really fast. Obviously, he was telling me how he was just recovering and being sober, and I was like, oh, like I've been sober for like almost a year now, and we started talking about obviously what our addictions were like and what we had went through, and we just bonded a lot over that. And then we went inside and like obviously started talking to everybody again, because we just got into a really deep conversation. But I had brought him home, like I brought him to therapy the next day.
Wait, you to his therapist?
Yeah, like I brought him like to his home.
To your therapist.
No. I brought, whenever he was going to therapy, like I had brought him the next day, and like that's whenever we started like
interesting
seeing.
I didn't know this.
And then I started going to the house more, to the old Notch house.
Yeah.
And like obviously he was with Sab the entire time. So like when I would see Sab, I would see him, and then we all were like there together all the time. And then I moved into the house, and obviously he like kind of lived there by the end of it. It was a very short-lived house, but like we lived on the same floor. And
I remember that.
Yeah, when Coda came and all of that, and there was just
Coda in the house or
yeah.
Or did they have the apartment first?
We had the house when we first got Coda.
I didn't know Coda was. I thought Coda was in their apartment.
No, but I mean, obviously, we were in that house for like 2 seconds. So whenever it was basically like in the house, out the house.
I mean, could you believe that? Because I remember when Sab and Coop contacted us, it's like, yeah, Sab came back from Florida with a dog.
I know.
And it's like, what? What? And the first thing I thought, dude,
yeah,
we're not getting a dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dog's not coming home to Casa Noriega in Laguna Beach. And what happened?
He was there.
Now we have Coda.
Exactly. Now you have a dog. You have a second dog.
Jeez, my God.
I know. Yeah. And so then obviously we all moved, and I mean, I love, like, they're my family, so still was going around all the time. But it's how I knew Coop. I think I feel a lot of guilt because I set up a lot of boundaries sometimes, because I experienced a lot of people that went through the same thing as Coop.
Well, you mentioned yourself.
I went through addiction. Is that okay to we can talk about.
What? How old? What did you do? What was your story with that?
I
didn't know this about you.
It's funny. I was during high school. I went to a really small school growing up for like my first, literally was in such a small school, very innocent,
private school.
Yeah, it was. Okay. It was like Messiah Montessori. Do you know what the Montessori method is?
Yes.
I went to a Montessori school.
Yes.
For a very long time, kept me very sheltered, like very innocent. And then I went to a Catholic school, and that just kind of threw me in the ringer. And of just this whole new exposure of just really crazy people doing a lot of outlandish things at a very young age. And when I was 14,
you mean I got partying and things like that sort of?
Yeah. Oh, like partying, drugs, alcohol, all that stuff. And when I was 14, I tried this drug for the first time. It's technically, I guess you could just say it's spice.
I don't know what that is.
It's synthetic. What is it? Synthetic? Do you know what? Do you know what's spice? I would say synthetic THC, and it's basically
is that what they call now? Something 18. I forgot what it is.
I have no idea.
Look, there's this,
the Delta
stuff.
I don't know. I've never done that.
Really super hardcore weed. A lot of psychotic episodes happen with people. They get 5150s off this stuff.
Haven't done that one, but there was this homemade spice that had a lot of random stuff in it, and you could vape it. And it didn't show up in drug tests, and we got drug tested at school. So obviously nobody was smoking weed. So what's the next best thing? Oh, let's do this.
So that doesn't show up in a drug test?
It didn't.
That's bizarre.
It wasn't showing up on their drug test. It's what they were looking for.
Wow.
So,
but the THC part didn't show up.
There's no THC in it. That's the thing. It's fake. It's fake.
Yeah. Okay.
All
synthetic.
Of it.
Got it.
Yeah. We ended up. When I was 17, someone ended up bringing it to a lab at LSU to see what was in it. And it was 5-GHB30 or something, and then had the addictive ingredients of meth and heroin in it. And I was like, oh. Because I had been doing, I did it for about 3.5 years, and then a year and a half of doing it all the time.
And did you feel did you enjoy it, or did you feel that I needed to do it? How do you describe that?
The thing around it is that I was struggling so much to fit in with people that sometimes I was addicted. 2, I had a bunch of people that I was enabling and who were enabling me. It wasn't just me that was dealing with it. It was actually crazy. A lot of people were dealing with it in my town. Everyone was doing it. So it was everyone was on this drug. Some people were worse than others. Some people weren't at all. And so we all were kind of bonding over it. So I used it as a way to one for myself, one for making friends with people, because nobody really wanted to be my friend.
You're trying to fit in.
Yeah. I didn't grow up in the cliques that everybody had already, had established. The groups of friends were already established whenever I went to high school. So it was just kind of harder to break into those groups. And one person, I was just a very I'm a very like, I don't know, I have a big personality, I guess you could say. And it was just deemed very loud and like awkward to people. And you know what? I was annoying at times, but it's fine.
Wait a second. I need to interject in this.
No, it's
I don't think you may interpret it as being annoying, but usually what I've seen, because Coop shared the same thing. He couldn't fit in with a lot of the social circles.
Yeah.
He struggled from that from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I remember him before he could even he was a little bit beyond walking. He was swimming, but he was always very proficient at things that he did. What this really is, there was a lot of envy from other people, like of who you were, how sure of yourself you were, how that you would be who you were. People don't like that. So what do? They kind of just close you out and they make you feel ostracized.
And, I don't know, like everybody we were all just, I don't know. So yeah, for like 3.5 years, I did that. And there was a lot of other problems. Like I had close people in my life who I really cared about who were addicted to other drugs. And that got really severe. And like I was dealing with my own mental health that I had just learned about. I was in therapy and I was over medicated to the max because the drugs I was doing suppressed all the prescriptions that I was supposed to take to help my mental health. So I ended up getting over medicated. So I was taking, and I did do pills for a little bit. And so my brain was just not.
Were you getting prescribed antidepressants, things of that sort?
Yeah, I was on antidepressants and I ended up I made 2 trips to the hospital. One when I was 15 and the last time when I was 17. And that was whenever I got clean because 17 was my rock bottom of the year. It was and it was the same year that I was Miss Louisiana teen. So I was missing so much school. I was traveling, I was prepping, and I was working, and I had distanced myself from my whole family. And I was high all the time. I would literally leave class and like go to my car to be like, oh, I don't like, I'm going to leave it in the car. I'm not going to get it. And then go back to the car, break the rules, go get it. And then,
and you doing this, let me ask you this, Emma. So you start doing this. Well, there's 2 things I hear you saying. There's the stuff that you're being prescribed, which they're trying to deal with certain mental health concerns that they're diagnosing. But there's stuff that you're taking by yourself. Is a lot of this why? Because you don't want to feel something? You want to numb yourself? They call it self-soothing. Why are you doing this?
I think I did it a lot because I was just so
unhappy,
sad. I was really alone and I was really sad. I was dealing with things at home. I was dealing with things in life in general with people and myself. I was really I got really far away from what I was as a person in high school and who I was. And I had let people drive me away from who I was. And if you look at my Miss Louisiana Teen USA bio, I say I want to be a dermatologist. And I wanted to go into the doctor field. I wanted to do physical therapy and
medical.
I wanted to be in the medical field, which I have never wanted to do. I never wanted to do it until I stopped. I literally gave up on myself at some point because I just was it was weird because I was still doing the things that I wanted to do, driving. When I was 16 and I got my first car, I was driving all over the place to go to these fashion weeks, by myself to do these things. I was shooting as much as I could. I was doing everything I could, but I was still giving up on the fact that I may not be able to do this for the rest of my life. I was just I'm going to keep trying, but I don't know. I think I need to start looking at second options. I think I need to really dumb it down and go somewhere else. And
that you might not make it in this world. And in that profession.
I didn't know what was going to happen. And I was so scared and I was alone and I was in a weird relationship, I guess you could say, that was I was kind of basing my life off of.
And it wasn't working out.
Yeah, there's so much that happened, but I just was really manic, and I had so much anxiety, and I was so depressed, and I was dealing with a lot of internalized things, and it just all combined. And I have addiction in my family, and so it was just really coming out. And
you were really hurting.
Yeah. And there was just things like, even like I didn't get treated right in school all the time. Like, and I think people like, I think I've been thinking about my high school experience a lot because it's been so weird. There's like such a give and take. Like there's so many times where I was mistreated and I was bullied and I felt so alone. Like I spent so many lunches and I've spent so many recesses in our chapel alone, like literally asking God to help me or help me have friends or something. And
you're 14, 15, 16, 17?
Yeah, I basically, yeah.
Oh, it's so hard.
So, and 15 was the first time I had ever been to the mental hospital. And
how did you get there? Did you ask, or did your parents?
My therapist actually sent me there because she knew that I was going to commit suicide.
You thought about it.
I had a plan, and she just like, I talk a lot in therapy, and I think I kind of, I do. And I gave myself away a little bit. And I mean, thank God that I did. Like, I think being honest with your therapist is the most important thing. And like, for me, all I've ever wanted was to be heard and listened to and understood. So like, I know. So I'm really good at like talking to a therapist and telling her everything. And I loved my therapist. So she was really worried about me, and I ended up going to the hospital that day, and I was there for 9 days. I came back and like, I had like a new sense of like, I didn't feel as alone anymore, but I still was like, obviously I still was an addict. And then by the time I was 17, I was really bad, and my mom had found out some things, and I was just, I just had no hope for myself. And there was like some things that like and my therapist was again really worried about me. So she sent me away, and like I was honest with her, because the problem is that everybody thought it was like, oh, you're addicted to weed. And I'm like, I don't smoke weed. Like they would routinely drug test me at my therapist. Like my psychiatrist would drug test me and like it wouldn't come up. But I'm like, you're looking at the wrong thing. And like in my head, I would think about it. I'm like, but she has no idea that I'm doing this. Like there's just so many. But no, so I ended up going back to the hospital when I was 17. And after that, I was like, I really need to be better. And like my senior year was like my best year of high school. I relapsed one time, and then, but the formula of it's called CBD, the formula that actually had gotten way worse. And whenever I did it for 1 week, and I like felt myself dying on the inside. Like I'd never felt anything like that in the prior times I had been using. So, and that was like, I can't. And then I haven't touched it since.
Did you get scared?
I got really scared because I was like, I have this newfound hope of like, because I got out the hospital and then I went to the LEAP camp. And like that leadership camp really saved me in a way, because I had new hope of like what my future could be. You got a chance. I was like, this is like my opportunity. Here. Like this is like, I was like given a new, because I just really thought that like I like was never gonna like be able to pursue the things that I really wanted to pursue and like be miserable my whole life.
And back up in your town and
yeah, like I didn't want to like Louisiana. Like my family's not even from Louisiana. Like my mom, like my grandparent, like nobody's from Louisiana. We're just there. So it's just like, it's not where I wanted to live or end up. And so that gave me new hope. And then my senior year of high school, like I did start over. I was like prioritizing people in my life that needed to be there. And like really, I stopped caring about what people thought of me. And like, I really just put in the work.
You started making different choices.
Yeah. I started being like who I was before high school.
Who you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Well,
and so
who you really needed to be.
Yeah. And then quarantine happened and like honestly, like it was such scary times. Obviously, like people were like, it was COVID.
People were freaked out.
But I was able to really like, I took advantage of that time and like really just focused on like my mental and like my physical health and being with like my sister is my best friend and like being with her every day and like prioritizing the relationships I needed. Like it got me through quarantine. And then I moved to Los Angeles. And I think it's like all of that is just like a reason as to why, like, one, I put up, there was like, I loved Cooper. Like he's my family. Cooper is family to me. He was always family to me. I cared about him. And like,
I know.
I think that there were times where I showed him tough love because I was mad a lot of the time because I wanted to fix his brain. I wanted like, you know, and I think that anybody could agree. Like, I know that we talked about this the other day. Like it's in your head. It's all in your head. And like, I'm just mad because I was mad that he couldn't help himself.
He couldn't get through it.
And, you know, it's like, and I don't think it was like a strength thing. I think that it just is so hard. And you know what? He was trying. Like he was trying to help everybody.
I know.
He was always trying to help everyone. He was always trying to make people feel better.
He was really trying to help himself.
He really
by doing
was.
that.
I think so.
Yeah.
And like,
this is my penance to be able to like, you know, my works. I need to earn my way to my salvation.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
it's like, so that's why I think like it still strikes weird because I was just so like, wish that I could like go back and like not have those boundaries up, even though I was protecting myself because I had dealt with I had someone really close to me who was dealing with really like strong addiction. And like I had dealt with my own addiction and I was dealing with the addiction of like someone I really loved and cared about. And like that was really hard. And like what it did to me was really like it really stripped me bare. And like I wanted, because I loved the family that I had built with Just a House, like Dev, Anna, Sabrina, like Zach, like Cooper, they were all so important to me and I really cherished them and I didn't want it to take away. So whenever I like, it still hits because I, one, feel guilty and two, I'm mad and three, it's just like, I mean, it's just hard. I've never lost anybody this close. And like, it just hurts really bad. So I don't know. He was just such a good person.
You know, we kind of chatted about it briefly the other night. We all have a sense of guilt. We all gave him tough love. I did. And we've been through so much with him. He gave himself tough love. But one of the things that I heard you say through our through this part of your conversation is that you experienced a lot of what Cooper experienced, and it seems like that resonated with you. He struggled to be accepted in his own mind. He never felt that he could. He only felt that he actually ever really connected with anybody is when he moved to LA, met Jaden, met you, Sab, all that whole group. He finally felt that he was accepted for who he was. Interesting enough, a lot of people, I mean, remember when he came back and went to school his senior year at the public school, Laguna Beach High School. And he was starting to become pretty known on social media at that time. So what do you think happens? Just what do you think happens? Everybody makes fun of him.
Yeah.
And it's like, just like, and he didn't expect it. And he wasn't trying to like, he's never been like really egotistical or proud or try to like show it off. But he was just thought, I know we had talked about it. He thought that like, I'm actually doing something and I'm productive. And, you know, I got some road ahead of me and people are making fun of me and this and that. And he was like, you know what? I don't want to be with these people. I've got a couple of choice friends. Everybody else, my friends are up in LA. We had a hard time and struggle with that because like it's so far away. Yeah. Does that mean you're going to get in trouble or whatever? But no, when we met everybody, and it was Treva that went up there when she met you and everybody else. Then I finally went up and met Quentin and Anthony and Josh and Bryce and all those guys. I mean, there's people that we felt like, I don't know if that's the best group to be around, but there were certain people that, like you guys, we felt like this is really good for him. But
I mean, it's hard. Like LA is like, there are beautiful parts of LA. There's good people here. And like, I have found like such a solid group of people. And, but if you go out, there is drugs everywhere. There are so many bad influences everywhere. There are people that you want in your life that are bad influences as well. Like, it's just hard. And like, it's just like a battle. And obviously as a parent, like that's something that you're going to worry about.
But it's everywhere, Emma.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's in Louisiana. It's in Wisconsin. Yeah. It's in the Appalachians. It's in Beverly Hills. It's in everywhere. Monaco. It's in Paris. It's everywhere. And the things that I've heard you say earlier are the things that like really resonate with what we see today. Like, there's the Discord. It's got about 250,000 kids on it. Yeah. I was on it earlier this morning. Just, I'll either send a message like of hope or encouragement, or somebody will be struggling with something and it'll resonate. So I'll respond. But the one theme that I hear through all these kids, and I think the age group is roughly like 13 through.
It's gotten younger too.
Yeah. 13 to like young. 25.
Yeah.
The one thing I hear, the number one thread, they all want to be heard and listened to. Yeah. There's at home or their friend group or at school. And there's a lot of talk about school, a lot of talk about parents, a lot of talk about boyfriends, girlfriends. They're not heard. They have no one to speak to that someone will listen to and can feel like they can be open about it, but they can't on that Discord. And there's some knuckleheads on it that need to be moderated, that are just, look, they're kids, they're immature, but there's a lot of people jumping in, offering encouragement, words of hope, help, experience. But it's like what I was hearing you say earlier. You didn't really have anybody to talk to that you could open up to, that you felt heard and listened to because you were hurting.
I mean,
and it's not always going to be our parents. Like Coop's mom and I struggle. Like, did we fuck up as parents because we couldn't save him? It's like, no, we had a great relationship with him, but your kids aren't always going to tell us as parents everything. Like you mentioned, like with your therapist, they were testing you, but you're getting high all the time. They're testing the wrong, but you kept a secret from them. And that's kind of like, and maybe I've found that kids keep those secrets from their parents because they don't want to hurt and disappoint them. It's guilt and shame. But they'll talk to their friends like you guys at a party, you chat. I mean, that's kind of what the Discord's doing. I think that's kind of what, like, you've been so open about yourself today. Other kids are going to look at it and say, that's like me. I struggle with that.
I hope so. I
and she's talking about it. And this is my idol that is out there on social media, and I see doing all these great modeling gigs now and traveling the world, and and she's going through the same shit that I'm going through.
I hope so. It's interesting because obviously like it gets easier and it gets better, but there's like always going to be low points, and like I'm not a perfect person, and I'm not the best. Like obviously there's no perfect pattern to it. There's no right way to like lead you up to the perfect decision or like how to stay away from things. But
there's no instruction manual. What we have is you and what you choose to do with you.
And I've worked really hard to be honest, and I've worked because I don't hide things anymore from like my therapist or from my people. It's really hard for me to lie now. Like I've used to be really great at lying because I was lying to myself. I was lying to my mom. I was lying to my sister. I was lying to my friends and my psychiatrist. Like I was lying all the time, and it ended up just like building all these lies built up and like literally hurt me, and I ended up hurting myself. And I just really work every day. I just think about who I was, and like that is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I never want to be that person again, and I want people to also like, I want people to feel like seen, understood, heard, or at least a little bit. Like it's hard because like I get like that too, where I'm like, nobody will understand. Nobody understands what I'm feeling, but it's like there is people out there.
But you still get triggered with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
triggers with every. I mean,
Right.
life is full of triggers. It's like learning how to handle them, and like for me, I cry a lot, and like that's why whenever like Coop comes up, like the other day, like if someone like I had, obviously the intention was not ill. People want to find common ground. But like I told you the other night, like I was out and a girl came up to me. I'd never met her before. And she was like, I know Cooper, or like I knew Cooper. And I'm like, I can't talk about this right now. I don't know why. I just don't want to talk about this. It's like hard because I'm still processing and dealing like guilt and shame and like sorrow for
And grief.
just like sorrow for that he's like one that he's gone, like that,
Yeah.
I mean there's so many factors into it that we all like think about
Right.
constantly, so it's just like I don't know, and like it's hard, but sorry, I don't
No,
I got lost in it.
No, that's okay. I understand what you're saying. We're all struggling with the processing of grief, grief is a terrible thing. It's part of life. I mean, we're not going to live forever. I never expected to lose a child.
No.
You know, I lost my parents.
Yeah.
That's kind of the natural circle of life, right? It was even though they both passed, you know, at an older age, and they were, you know, in the times they were kind of supposed to. Yeah. Still was hard when that moment hit. I just think with grief, everybody grieves differently. Everybody, it takes grief, the passing of a loved one and all the pain with it never goes away. It just, I use this example, which is, I'm going to share it with you because it kind of helps me to understand it. It's like, you've been in our, like a little room we were sitting around the dining room, which is all full of books and photos, right? We call it the sitting room in our house. And it's all full of books and photos, and there's musical stuff and all that. If you sit there, I look at it this way. There's this big open book, and it's like the book of Cooper and his life and all the things that went on. And then eventually, and this is like the book of Cooper's life, it's going to close, and we're going to put it back on the shelf. Now, in where it's going to be going forward. It doesn't go away. Yeah. And there's times where we're going to bring the book out, and we're going to laugh and look at that funny moment and talk about that. And then we're going to flip pages, and there's going to be times where I'm going to look at it and I'm going to cry because I miss it. Yeah. But then I'm going to close it, and I'm going to put it back on what I call the bookshelf of our lives. And in that bookshelf, there's so many different books and chapters of my life, from my entire life. Then there's Treva's, then there's Parker's, then there's everybody. I think that's how I look at it. Like, we're just going to move forward with those books of our lives, and it'll have its nice place. Doesn't go away. We don't move on. We just move forward, and then it becomes in its right place and time. But I will share with you this. I briefly shared with you at dinner the other night, like this experience I had with Coop. Yeah. And so, sorry, that's okay. We have these just in case. We have these in case I needed them. But Coop wants us all to be okay with what happened, and that it wasn't meant to be. Yeah. And he's sorry, and he knows that we have a lot of pain, but wants us to move on and take from all this and really enjoy and live our lives. And I think he reaches out to each one of us individually with things that I feel like he wants us to do. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing things. Yeah. And like having you here today. And I think that's why, Alana and Alex wanted to do the foundation and felt compelled to like get it started. It's one of the reasons all these other people reach out to us, like we're here in the End Overdose Studios. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, it's it's part of our life. But I go back to the Discord because there's so many kids out there that are struggling with, they don't feel heard or listened to, and they're hurting, and it's real pain. And it could be just the fact, like, my boyfriend didn't call me, and I think he's seeing somebody. I mean, all the things that we have to get through in the maturity of our life. The thing that I'm saddened by is that you, for example, you and a number of our other friends struggled with mental health. This is all mental health. Sure. Like how I feel about myself. I don't fit in. I'm not liked. I'm ugly. When I grew up, I'm short. I'm not going to be like the other guys, and girls aren't going to like me, and all these things. But somehow we got through all this. Yeah. And we've, and you're getting through it, and you're leading a successful life today, successful relationships. But Coop took something that shouldn't have killed him. And that's the sad part, because he didn't have to die. And he didn't want to. And he didn't want to. And that's one of the things that is part of what, Coop's advice is working on, to change some of those things so that other kids don't have to die, and they can have the opportunity to do like what you've done. Yeah. And like you said, you went to the lead camp, and then you felt like you had an opportunity, and you said you started making choices about what you're doing about yourself and who you're hanging around with. And what I hear is you started making positive and healthy choices about your life. Yeah. And it seems like it started working. And then when you do that, as a parent, what I've seen through life experience, when you choose to make positive and healthy choices versus negative and unhealthy choices, these positive and healthy ones position you for other positive and healthy things to happen, because you're kind of hanging around that now. And then all of a sudden you meet Alana, who's like a really big, positive and healthy person to be there. Yeah. That resonates with you. And what has happened since then?
It's crazy. I mean,
like your life since then has been what?
So much better.
I mean, all I see is like, you're in Milan, you're in Paris, you're in New York. You're like, I'm supermodel, up and coming supermodel, like who you were idolizing. Things have changed. You got a great relationship with Zach. Seems like a great kid.
No, he's amazing.
So tell me about your life once you started making those choices yourself, because nobody made these for you. Things just didn't happen all of a sudden. Ding, I'm in like positive, healthy life.
Yeah, it's definitely the work that you put in. I think that's like the hard part, because the work is the hardest part. You can cognitively and like you could want something, but you have to be able to work for it. And like, I mean, there are even times where I'm like, I still have everything and I feel like I have nothing, which is like, and then that's whenever the gratitude comes in, because obviously I'm so immensely grateful, and I get mad at myself because I'm like, stop feeling like this. Where I get frustrated with myself about like not being good enough, or I'm like not working hard enough, or I'm like not being there for the people that I need to be there for, or I'm not helping myself. I'm like not living correctly and like not being the best version of myself. And then I get so frustrated with myself. And then I think the biggest thing that's helped me so much is gratitude and patience.
Thankfulness.
Like I am so grateful that I get the opportunities that I have been given. I'm grateful for what I've been through. I'm grateful for the people that I had in my life, even if they were healthy or not, people I have in my life now. I'm grateful to be able to speak about my past. I'm grateful for my past. I'm very grateful for my situation, and like that gratitude is what grounds me and like reassures me that I'm on the right path. And you need a lot of patience, and like because the work doesn't happen in a day.
How does that look in your daily routine of being grateful and thankful and patience? And is there things that you do when you wake up, or what's your day like to where you are practicing this?
I talk to myself a lot. and like I give myself a lot of pep talks. What I would like to do is I like to journal. For me, writing it out makes things more real. So whenever, like, especially whenever, like, I'll either journal my feelings or I'll manifest. I like to write out my manifestations, and typically the way that I manifest is like I show gratitude first, and then I talk about what my goals are. So I'll thank the universe. I'll thank God. I'll thank the life that, like, I'll thank all the little things, and write those out. And if I'm not journaling, then I talk to myself. I like to speak out loud. Like,
You actually really talk to yourself?
I do talk to myself.
Ooh, that's kind of
I'm a little
interesting.
cuckoo.
No, it's
crazy.
not, because, you know, you mentioned things a minute ago. One of the things Coop and I always talked about, and I learned this from him, it helped me tremendously. I'm in my late 50s when this happened. He came back from wilderness camp and talked about, I'm learning to stop the negative self-talk in my head. And this is one of the things we talk about. Like, we could say, God, you're just not good enough. Or like, if only this, if only you were that, it's all these negative things. He would talk to me about, Dad, I'm learning about, curtailing the negative self-talk and trying to work on positive self-talk, or say nothing at all, which is,
it's hard.
It had a real effect on me.
Yeah.
Because I was, in a way, verbalizing negative self-talk around the people that were close to me. Yeah. And I could realize how it just kind of like erodes it away at my things I was struggling with and verbalizing were eroding other people. And nothing comes from negative. Yeah. So I'd rather be quiet, or I started learning to change it, right?
I haven't even thought about the whole nothing part. I probably should try that. I typically am like, oh, you're so stupid. Like, you're stupid. And then I'm like, why are you calling yourself that? And so I just, I'm working on it. It definitely is a process, but I really love how far I've come. I'm really proud of myself. And I don't know if I could do it without all the people that I have in my life. I'm really, really lucky and grateful that I've met some of the best people I've ever met after moving to Los Angeles. I'm in, even Zach, I never had a relationship before I met Zach. I have so many experiences with men that have just ruined the idea of it for me. And then I met him, and then it completely changed.
I mean, there's really, in both guy and girl side, there's only a handful of really good people.
No, I've been traumatized by women too. No, I say this: people are gonna suck until they don't. That's just it. There's no and
it's up to them to choose not to suck.
Yeah.
Otherwise, enjoy your life of sucking, because this is who you are. You've chosen to be a person that just sucks, so you're going to be with people who sucks.
Yeah.
Personally, like me, I choose not that. In my world, I have to navigate between people because I work with a lot of different people in my profession.
Of course.
So it's like, I will spend the time I need to spend with you, and then I'm gone. But if somebody resonates, there's not a lot.
You just got to protect your energy, And I let so many people intrude on my energy, and I genuinely was such I changed myself
for acceptance and to fit in,
to be,
and you don't need that, do you?
And no, and I really wish that sometimes I could just have been. Even who I was in before I went to high school, I wish I would have just grabbed a book, sat down in the library, and chilled. I wish I could have been more of who I am now and the person before. There's just so much innocence in childhood that I wish I would have preserved. But
seems like you're more secure about, and you like who you are.
I love who I am a lot more now, and I love what I'm doing, and I love what I am able to do, and I'm really grateful for I'm just really grateful.
I believe that we're where we're supposed to be, and the people that come in our lives, good, bad, and indifferent, are there for a reason to learn from, and it's up to us to make our decisions to, be who we want to be, and it's choose who's going to be in our life. And I think we have to choose carefully and wisely, because there's a lot of toxic things in the world. I'm with what you eat, what you read, what you breathe, who you talk to, who you spend time with. It's around us. So it's like getting to a good place is not easy. It's challenging, but.
And even like becoming good with myself. Cause like at the end of the day, who you're going to have for the rest of your life is yourself. Like you're going to lose people. People are going to come in and out of your life. You may not, like, I have times where like someone could be listening to me and I'm still not feeling like I'm being heard. Even if they do, like, it's just like my own problem where like I am explaining what I'm feeling and you are receiving that, but that is still not like a good enough response. So like I need to step away and like figure it out myself. Like at the end of the day, like you have yourself, and being good with yourself and how you live your life and what your morals are and what you do, say, like act, like how you treat people, like you need to be good with that. So like tapping back, because I think I just fully like went away from being okay with like I didn't care about who I was. Like I didn't care about myself as much. I cared about what other people thought of me. I cared about what people said about me and what they thought about me and like how I acted, and like I didn't care about what I thought about myself, and like that made me very lonely.
That's the most important person.
Yeah,
opinion is your own.
Exactly. And being alone is really important. Like obviously don't want to be alone all the time, but like when you're alone with yourself at night, are you able to go on a date by yourself? Are you able to spend time alone and do things, travel alone, be alone, ride in the car alone?
Go to dinner alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, are you able to do these things alone and be okay with sitting with yourself? Because I read The Untethered Soul, and it was like, obviously like the way that you talk to if you talk to yourself, your best friend, the way that you talk to yourself, like, would you still have that best friend? You know,
when you get older, it'll be you talk to your kids.
I know.
Because I mean, you know, what I learned this when we were first having children from a really smart and really good friend of mine, and that your kids never do what you tell them to do. They do what you do. They watch you and just copy what you do.
Yeah, I mean,
so you can
true.
say all these things, but in your actions, if you're,
doing the opposite, then I'm going to think it's okay to do that, which I fully like.
Right. So I think that's kind of with our friends in life and everyone else. Now, since all this, I know that you're starting to experience a lot of success. Like, look, I don't know the exact brands. I know you're doing stuff. I just saw this stuff like that was posted on social media when you were in Milan. You're in Paris a couple times, Milan, Cannes, I think, as well. Are you going to Cannes?
I went to Cannes last
and you're
year.
going back again. New York, right? Yeah. But like some of the brands like that you're endorsing, modeling that are after you, help me out with it. Come on. I know it's like big time stuff.
I've been doing Fashion Month since last September. I've been able to work with brands like Saint Laurent and Lancome.
Saint Laurent. Who else?
Beauty. Lancome, Dolce & Gabbana, Dior.
Wow.
Gucci. I don't know.
What's your favorite brand that you like?
One of my favorite brands that I haven't worked with is the Frankie Shop. I love the Frankie Shop.
Really?
I love them so much. I love Styled. Charlotte Tilbury. I love that. I love my Charlotte Tilbury family. I've been able to meet so many wonderful people. Wow, I'm trying to think of. I'm definitely getting into the fashion space more, which is always the goal. I was able to walk for Kim Shui, which was really cool. I have my Sherry Hill family that I've been with.
I remember that.
Yeah, I've been with Sherry Hill since like the pageant days, so I love them and I've been with them for years.
But it seems like you're getting more and more requests. Am I correct?
Somewhat, yeah. I definitely am trying. There's like, I'm figuring out like my role. And like where I want it to be and like lead, because I love the modeling side. I love creating and being in that world. I'm also trying to be a part of that world without like absolutely having to like uproot my life and live in New York.
Right.
Because I do want to do the acting.
Right. Are you doing anything towards that right now?
Yes, I am. So I'm currently coaching and I'm signed to UTA and just working on my SAG card. And
are you doing it the right way? Are you getting bits to do?
No, I'm just auditions right now, but I am working on self-tapes and like I'm really working on actually being good at the craft, because I don't want to just like jump into it. And because obviously like I'm so grateful for the creator background that I like. Being a creator is so amazing and I love what I do. I just want people to understand that I'm really genuine about every single thing I do. So like I'm not doing acting just because I'm a creator and I get to do it because it's an opportunity. Like I genuinely care about acting and I love the act of making movies and film, and I really want to do it seriously. So learning and mastering
have you done
the craft.
any acting? Have you been in any films, TV shows, bits,
No,
anything? Nothing.
I did one music video for it, and my acting is terrible in
Oh,
it. But I also
stop.
had no idea I had to speak that day, and I didn't know it was improv. And they were like, "Oh, be a mean girl," and I'm like, "Oh, what?" I was like, I have no preparation for this.
You mean like say
I
bad
hadn't
words?
even been like, I hadn't even started acting lessons at that point, and that was like a while ago. But I've been doing acting lessons, self tapes, getting scripts and like sides, you know,
And
working
auditions.
on it. Just like really working on it
Good.
before it just so I can like really do it the proper way. And like I am helping develop like a skincare brand as well called aspirations, which I'm really excited about, and that is really cool. So there's like I want to do so many different things, and
And you're still doing a lot of branding deals, right?
yeah, like the brand deals in the fashion world is so important to me, but I'm also trying to, and obviously like Coop's advice is really, I'm really trying to figure out how to get more into the philanthropy side of things because we have Coop's advice. That's really important to me. And there's so many things that are going on in this world that I just want to be able to support and talk about, or like not even talk, just like be active towards, like show some action towards those other things that I'm passionate about. And it's just a lot, but it's really great. And I'm really happy to be doing so many things. I think these few things, like even the art science is like something I never thought I'd be able to be a part of. But last year I spent June with Bioma doing Acne Awareness Month, and I really like learned how much mental health and skincare, or like not even skincare, self-care ties in together.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like that was one reason why I really wanted to get involved with our science, because it is a wonderful skincare brand that uses real technology, like plant-based technology infused with like the power of like these great women that I get to work with, and tie this skincare brand into self-care, talk about mental health. Like it's like it can be such a huge thing. So I'm really excited about that.
So you have last couple things, because I know we've been talking all day.
I know, I'm like
But what do you have upcoming soon that you're going to be going to, like on your schedule? Like, is it New York? Is it Paris? What's coming up next?
I'm going to Morocco on Sunday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Morocco.
I'm going to Morocco. I'm really excited
That's
about
right.
that.
That's right.
And actually, Sabrina's coming too.
She
I found
is?
that out right before this. Sabubi's coming.
Really?
I know, I'm so excited.
Oh my God, we didn't know that.
I would literally screamed my head off
Oh my
on the
God.
phone.
So Alana got that.
Yeah.
Good for Alana.
Yeah, no.
Good.
She's
That's
a rock star.
great.
No, so Sab is
That'd
coming.
be really good for
No,
you guys.
I am so excited to go on because Sab loves going to like tropical places.
Right.
I know neither of us have ever been to Africa before, so I'm really excited about it.
Wait. Oliver's going too, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Those guys are joined at the hip.
I know they are literally, but I love them both. It makes me. I saw them last night and they looked great. They wore like matching outfits.
I saw that.
It was so good. Hey, I was the one that took those photos.
They look great.
They look great.
Oliver's such a great guy.
I love them.
Yeah.
I
He's a good
I'm
kid.
so happy Sab has him.
Yeah.
And
Morocco's cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then I have my sister coming to visit me soon.
Good.
So I'm gonna take some time for family. Which will be good. And
Good.
Coachella's happening.
Yeah. So I've got one last thing to ask you
Okay.
before we wrap up, and it would be this: you got a lot of followers out there, and you got a lot. I would say a lot of your followers are a lot of girls, like younger kids, etc. What could you say to them and share with them about like your words of wisdom about mental health? Because we all struggle with mental health. All of us. I think we're all going to struggle through our entire lives.
Yeah.
Because, we still have things that we've dealt with from very early on that stay with us. And I think life deals us different situations. And there's a stigma about mental health, which I think it's one of the goals I'd like to get rid of. Stigma.
No, of
I mean, when
course.
you break your arm,
Yeah.
are people like, ew, what's you're weird? No. But if you say like, I don't feel good, or like I'm struggling with something, there's a stigma that doesn't need to be there. So I'd just like to ask, there's a lot of kids that follow you and look up to you, and you've been through a lot. In closing, is there anything you'd want to share that you could share with words of advice or encouragement for those that they'll be watching this podcast?
I think that the best gift that you can give yourself is just patience. Because my mom told me this a long time ago, and it's like very simple, but it really helped me through, like, especially like going to the hospital and like a lot of other things, that no matter what, like at the end of it all, it'll always be okay. Like it will be okay. It'll get bad again, but it'll be okay again. Like there has to be both for that to happen. But giving yourself the patience and the love to get to that point of being okay is really important. And just learning. I think self-awareness has helped me out so much, and just giving yourself the patience, just a lot of patience to like get to that point of awareness, to get to that point of being okay, to get to that point of just preparing for the times that are going to get bad. Just so much patience in all aspects of your life. Like that patience is going to carry you through. Give yourself the patience to fight the anxiety of asking for help, to like give yourself the patience to reach out to somebody. Just give yourself some time to work it out. There's no rush for anything. Time.
Oh, Emma, you know what? I'm so glad you came, got a chance to talk. Because
no, thank you.
I got to know you better, and you're a really good kid, and I'm so thankful Coop had you in his life. I could see why he really loved you, because you have a good heart, and you're real. You're a real person, and that's important. Thank you.
Thank you.
And anytime you want to come back or whatever, as you know, our home is your home.
Yeah.
And you're always welcome, and we love you.
I love you too.
Thanks,
Thank
Emma.
you.
Thanks.
Oh, you make me cry.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And for more information, please follow us at the CoopsAdviceFoundation.org.